Hello guys, what's up? This is Murtaza. Welcome back to a Coder Journey. This is the next episode of my Axios in JavaScript applications. I hope you are doing well. I hope you have already watched the previous videos. If that's not the case, please make sure you do, because as I have told you in my other videos as well, what we talk about in each video is basically based upon the ideas that we have already covered in the previous videos. Now, in the last video, we kind of saw a very simple example of using a simple, HTML file, right? And then including Axios using our CDN and then referencing our app.js. And in our app.js, I made a very simple, get request to an endpoint. And then I told you that this function returns a promise, and then we can, handle that promise, the successful fulfillment of that promise, or a case when the promise is rejected, basically. Now, in this video, I'm going to teach you guys how to make a post request. I have basically created another folder, right, episode 4, and I'm going to put the exercise files for you guys so that you can, experiment with them. So I have created another folder, right, the episode 4 folder. And then I've got the the basic setup, the HTML file, the app.js file, right? And then in this video, I'm gonna show you, as I told you, how to make a simple post request. Now, in order to start making the post request, let me change this to post, right? To post request to a free API. I'm gonna get rid of this part, right? And I will start making a very simple object. I'm gonna say post data. And then I'm gonna say title is let's say my post, and then I'm gonna say body is this is the content of my post, and then I'm gonna say user ID is 1. So this is basically a very simple object which I want to send to the endpoint with which we want to interact. So in order to make a post request, I'm gonna say Axios post, right? And then in the post, first I need to put in my HTTP endpoint and then my post data. So I'm gonna grab the HTTP endpoint from here. This is the endpoint with which we want to interact. This is the free API, which we also used in the last video. And then this, post, we will, it returns a promise as well. So basically, I can go on and I can say then, right? And this is the code snippet. I have created this code snippet myself for my, JavaScript files. Whenever I write then and then I press double tab on my keyboard, this is typed in for me. I will probably make a video for that one as well, because I think it's a good topic to make custom code snippets in your editor. Now, the then part is when the post request, right, is successfully fulfilled. So in order to handle this part, I'm going to say response, right? And in the body of this response, I'm going to say CLG or console log, and then I'm going to say post response. And then I'm gonna say response.data. As I have told you before, when you want to get to the data of our response, we're gonna use post data. And then in the catch part, this is the error part. So when an error occurs or that promise is not fulfilled, right, it is rejected, I'm gonna say error. I'm gonna say post error, and then I'm gonna put in error, right? I'm gonna save this, right? So basically, we have created a simple object, right, with 3 properties, and then we're gonna post that object to our endpoint, right, using this overload of the post function, which basically takes in not only the endpoint but also the data we want to send to that endpoint, and then using the promises, we are going to handle both the successful fulfillment of that promise returned by the post function as well as the case where that promise is rejected. So I'm going to save all of these files, right? And then I'm going to open this HTML file in my browser. So here I am in my browser, right? This is Chrome, and I've got the index.html file in a folder episode 4 open. Then I'm gonna press F12 to bring on the DevTools, and as you can see, we've got the console log because that post request is, handled successfully. And then we've got an object, right, with the body. This is the content of my post. We've got the ID, the title, and the user ID, and the prototype. Now, in order to show you guys how that failure part of our promise is handled, I'm going to go to Visual Studio and make some changes. Now, in VS Code, for example, we are going to, post to an endpoint that doesn't exist. I'm going to save, and then I'm going to go to my browser again. And here in my browser, I'm going to press refresh, and as you can see, we get the post error, right? It says request failed with a status code 404. The endpoint was not found, right? And then it says a bad request, and you can expand this object to see all the different details. We're not going to go over these details as of yet, but this is the simplest example which shows you how to make a post request to your endpoint using Axios. That was it for this video. I hope you've enjoyed watching it. If that's the case, don't forget to subscribe to A Coder Journey and stay tuned for my upcoming videos on Axios and JavaScript. Till later, bye-bye.